Hi, is this Riley?
Yes, all right. I will let you get started.
Great. Fantastic. All right, well, I can't see you people in the audience, but I think you might be here because you're very interested in Ethereum and what money means, right? And that's fantastic. Can I hear the audience? Can you say something into the mic again?
Yes!
Yeah, all right.
Actually,
So,
turn my light.
I don't have much time, so I'm going to get straight into it. I'm going to talk a little bit about Ethereum, what money is, privacy and security. Oh, cool. Let me have a look at that video. One sec.
So
Oh,
you see many
it's a
familiar
packed
faces.
house. Amazing. Yeah, everyone looks really smart and intelligent. It's just a big deal of geniuses there.
Yes, okay, great.
Fantastic. Okay, well, let's not delay. Who here, you can put up your hands, who here uses privacy systems for their blockchain stuff? Great, so about half of you. That's fantastic, yeah. So, all right, so I'm gonna go start off by talking about why, what money is, how it was invented, and why it's improved, right? And I'll go a little bit more into this with the innovations that improve money, and most of them are in privacy and security. So, money is an invention. In olden times, we didn't have money, right? We bartered with each other, we made different deals with each other by providing goods and services in a community of everybody who knows each other, right? The thing about money is it was invented as a way to deal with people that you don't usually interact with, because they can say, okay, look, I know you won't be able to provide a good or service back to me, but you can take this token, and then because someone else will accept it, now I can make a deal with a stranger, someone who I don't have anything in common with, who doesn't live near me, right? So originally, money were things like seashells, which you can collect and use kind of as a token. They're a little bit rare, they kind of look pretty, you can stack them, right? But in early Western society, the main currencies before the invention of money were salt and cattle. Cattle is a great one because they can walk, that you can move them from place to place. They're very valuable, like one cow can produce milk, it produces a lot of meat. These are very valuable things, right? So you would price a purchase in land with an amount of cattle. Salt, this is a very cheap way of paying people. Salt is useful itself. It has a lot of qualities. It preserves food. You could add it to increase taste. Like these things are very useful, right? And then, but for something to be an effective store of value, you need privacy and security, right? What is privacy? What is security? Actually, privacy is a kind of security. These are things that stop people from stealing your stuff or destroying your stuff, right? Because you are going to have people that don't cooperate with you that try and take things, right? So if you have cattle, someone's going to try and kill it and eat it. If you have gold, salt, someone's going to, it's going to rain and then your salt gets wet and it's useless, right? It flows away. That's security, right? Privacy and security turn something into a store of value, right? If you have no privacy, someone will steal your stuff, right? If you have no security, the problem with gold, right, is they started making gold coins to replace things like salt and cattle, and that became extremely popular. But the problem is that people could easily forge a gold coin. So dealing with gold coins was not actually secure, because you might be gold or it might be some other metal you don't know, right? Big issue. So as the internet came about, we had internet currencies. And in the early days of the internet, you had things like Linden dollars. Now, Linden dollars are from Second Life. I don't know if you guys can see me. I think you can't see my face, but I'm making a lot of gestures. There were a lot of games in the late 90s that operated online. And these games had game currencies, and people actually used them to pay each other online because credit card payment online hadn't been invented yet. We didn't have encryption online in the 90s. So you couldn't use your credit card online. What would happen is there were these password protected games, and people would send each other payments on these games, things like RuneScape and games like Second Life. And then there was a very, very influential website called Liberty Reserve, and they had their own currency that they made for that website, and it became the sort of pre-Bitcoin online currency. Problem was, it got shut down because it was centralized, which means it's not that secure. So both in the era of ancient and medieval times and the era of today, we're struggling to find a way that we can secure value privately, right? So Ethereum. Now the thing about Ethereum, right, is it has its own kind of currency called Ether, but it's also, Ethereum is a kind of currency. There are a lot of currencies and monies on Ethereum, right? Because Ethereum allows value to store and change hands through forming smart contracts, tokens that are backed by other assets. So you can actually have the ease of use of a medium of exchange of money by putting your asset as an Ethereum smart contract, or creating a token that's backed by other currencies like wrapped Bitcoin or Ether or these kind of things. This is really awesome. With Ethereum, privacy is possible because you can actually create encrypted addresses like RAILGUN. Security is possible because we have significant encryption and well-coded smart contracts that mean that no one can send you fake Ethereum. It's very easy to check. You don't need a complicated machine to check if your Ether is correct. Whereas if you get a gold coin, it's very hard to test if it's correct. If it's really gold, right? It could weigh the same, it could look the same. You don't know if it's really gold, you need an expert, right? Speed of transfer is much higher than older forms of money. Like Ethereum is a money type. There are many different Ethereum monies. Speed of transfer means that it's a great medium of exchange. It's useful for all these people. But the key things, that make it different from just like a random internet currency or sending a photo of a check or fax of a check is the privacy and security. It's verified on receipt, within 7 seconds, and you can use privacy, right? So here I'm talking about RAILGUN. Now RAILGUN is financial privacy. It's a peer-to-peer system. So RAILGUN is a way that you can make an address on Ethereum. You make a 0zk address. The zk address operates just like a 0x address, except it's encrypted. It's private. There's no custody in RAILGUN, so it's just your address wallet, and your address is encrypted. So anything that you put into a RAILGUN created wallet, what's called a 0zk address, is encrypted and people can't see it from the outside. And the benefit of this is that actually you can keep your RAILGUN money on in the private address, and you can trade from it and do things. You don't need to put it in and take it out. Once like other systems, like it can just stay private, and you can trade and do all of your Ethereum actions from a private address, and that's what makes RAILGUN different from other systems. It is a open source privacy system. So people think, well, wait, DeFi is already private, it's anonymous, like no one knows who it is. Well, actually, it's not. It's very easy to determine who owns an address, and there are companies who make their entire business about telling other people who owns what address. It's kind of scary. And then not everyone fits your wallet profile. When someone sees a trade online, or a swap, or a deposit, or a withdrawal, or a transaction, a salary amount that happens every month, something like that, it's unique, and everyone sees it. And not only does everyone see it, it's recorded for all time. Now the thing about privacy is the most valuable thing in the world. The cost of almost everything is determined by the degree of privacy it allows you. That's why it's called private property, right? That's why the most expensive things in the world are private jet, private island, right? The level of privacy you have, having a big hotel room means you have more privacy. It's your private area, right? Everything that is cheap lacks privacy, and everything that is expensive because it provides more privacy, right? So we live in the data age. I should say 2026. Data security is personal security, right? if you don't protect your data, you are at risk yourself as a human being, because this is all it takes to take what you have, is to know too much about you. So if you're not using privacy tools, you're actually weaker than other people. Privacy keeps you strong. I'm using this Railway wallet as an example of a private wallet. Railway wallet is a no-log wallet, so they don't record everything, they don't keep any track of the thing, there's no advertising fee, there's no analytics. And it also is one of the wallets that adopted RAILGUN addresses. So you could use just Railway wallet like a normal Ethereum wallet, but you could also make a 0zk address. You can check it out on railway.xyz. 0zk address means that in the Railway wallet you can actually encrypt your balances and no one can see it after that, right? So some of the things that you can do with these, you guys are following this, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, great. So some of the things you can do with having your private wallet is you can actually do DEX swaps inside your private balance. There's two wallets that I've said that allow this: Terminal Wallet, Railway Wallet. There's another one called Anon Wallet, ANON, which is a web wallet. It's a browser extension. So there's a lot of different wallets that adopted RAILGUN tech that lets people be private online, right? This is what Terminal Wallet looks like. It's actually a command line interface wallet. And this is for people who really, really want to make sure that they don't make mistakes. And you can see in the image on the right here that they're doing a private swap with this RAILGUN 0x DEX aggregator interaction where they're selling DAI and buying wrapped Ethereum, right? And yeah, it works and no one can see which address it came from or which address it went to. Railway Wallet has the same. It looks a bit nicer with the graphic user interface. Some people prefer command line, right? This is the private swap that someone's doing on Railway, successfully buying tokens with wrapped ETH privately. Now, this is only really important if you can actually do DeFi and all of your different money activities with it, right? So, for example, already with RAILGUN, like people can invest in vaults and get yield privately, so no one knows who's receiving the yield and no one can track how much money you've made. This is example is Beefy. Beefy is a project for yield on Ethereum. And Uniswap, you can make a private LP using Uniswap. So if you want to create liquidity for a token, you can do it without anyone knowing your address by using RAILGUN to create the liquidity pool. That's really cool. You can also add and remove the liquidity privately, which is good if you're like helping out a project and you don't want to look bad by removing liquidity or adding liquidity, and you want to stay anonymous, right? So here we go. I've been talking for a while, so I just want to summarize saying privacy helps you protect your earnings, it helps keep you safe. In the future, 20 years, 30 years from now, people are going to look back at the records that you made of what you're doing now online. And so it actually pays to be private today, because the embarrassment and loss that you might have in the future from data that people are getting into from your on-chain activity now, yeah, you have the option to use privacy tools today. So thanks, guys.
Great.
I wonder if you can